Hello, everyone. I'm your Vegas Nation host, Cassie Soto, here to bring you up to date on all things Raiders now that the team has officially kicked off OTAs. And here to help bring us the latest news and information is Las Vegas Review-Journal Raiders beat writer Vinny Bonsignore. Vinny, first, let's start with the NFL draft. Can you believe that it was already a month ago? It seems like just yesterday, Las Vegas was getting ready to host one of the league's biggest events, and now it's been in the books for a minute now. But let's go ahead and look at the Raiders. And after seeing what they accomplished during this year's draft, how would you grade, if you could put a grade on this year's draft class for this new coaching staff?
Well, and you have to also add Devontae Adams to that draft class because they obviously paid a first round pick and a second round pick to go get him. So somehow he has to account for that. But given how they started their draft after making the trade for Devontae Adams in the third round, I thought they did a pretty good job. You know, it wasn't a sexy draft, it wasn't a big name draft, but it was a needs draft. In order to not just necessarily needs draft, but filling in some important positions. The offensive line with Dylan Parham and Thayer Munford, the defensive line going to get Neil Farrell from LSU. So it wasn't like a big name draft, but it was an important draft for building out the roster and building out this team.
Well, like I said off the top, the Raiders have officially started OTAs. We're hoping that we can get in there sometime this week to take a look at what this team is shaping up to be. What can we expect to see and hear if we are able to get into OTAs, Vinny?
Well, we are. We're going to see it on Thursday of this week. And we're going to see some football, sort of. Obviously there's no tackling. Obviously there's no full pads this time of year. But we are going to see 11 on 11. We are going to see 7 on 7. We are going to see 9 on 7. So we'll be able to get a look at who's lining up where. And I'm going to go specifically to the offensive line. Who's over at right tackle? Will Alex Leatherwood, as I suspect, get a legitimate shot to win the right tackle job? Will he be lining up with the ones at right tackle? Where does Dylan Parham line up initially? Is he in a legitimate battle with John Simpson over at left guard? So there's things to be looking at. And this is a important step. It's a small step, but it's an important step along the way to building the foundation of what this Raider team is going to look like. Championships are won in December, January, February, but teams are literally built this time of year, and that's what the Raiders are doing right now.
Yeah, well, more importantly, not only building the team, Vinny, but allowing head coach Josh McDaniels to get acclimated and his new coaching staff to get their footing here in Las Vegas. Have you heard anything of how that is going so far for the new coaching staff here in Las Vegas?
Yeah, and I've been able to talk to a couple of players, and they really like what the vibe that they're getting from Josh McDaniels and his entire coaching staff. One thing to keep in mind is this is a very much a development, teaching-oriented staff who carries over with them for the New England Patriots. A lot of coaches have come from over there, including obviously Josh McDaniels, Carmen Brasillo, the offensive line coach, Mick Lombardi, the offensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator, spent time in New England. So the feedback that I'm getting is it's very detail-oriented, it's very educational-oriented, and it's very development oriented. They're going to figure out what it is that you do, what it is that you bring to the table, and be able to accentuate that and enhance that by putting players in positions to tap into those strengths. But whatever weaknesses you have, and there aren't any perfect players out there, this staff has shown in the past, going back to New England again, an ability to, if you have a weakness, they'll be able to coach around it and figure out ways to help seal up that weakness. So it'd be really interesting. Like you said, it's a foundation for Josh McDaniels right now to get to know his team and his staff to get to know this team.
Well, how about some of these undrafted guys, Vinny? The guys that don't necessarily have a secured spot on the 53-man roster. You mentioned the new coaching staff and sort of the new techniques and ways of teaching that they're bringing here to Las Vegas. There's not really any loyalties tied down, right? So there are opportunities for new guys to make a name for themselves this week, are there not?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that'll carry over, obviously, in training camp when pads come on and it gets ratcheted up a little bit more. I would expect that there will be a couple of undrafted free agents who make the team and then more so who will find a spot on the practice roster. Keep in mind the way the practice roster rules still exist after the pandemic. There's a lot of flexibility to bring guys up on a week-to-week basis. So you're going to need, whoever you are, you're going to need all 67, however many guys are in the building at any given time to get through a season. So there's important roles even for the undrafted players to carve out, and it starts right now in OTAs.
Well, that'll do it for us for today, but hopefully, and fingers crossed, like Vinny said, we will be in there on Thursday to bring you all the latest from Raiders OTAs. He is Vinny Bonsignore. I'm Cassie Soto. For more Raiders news, head on over to vegasnation.com.